In life, you can either have two options. One, that you believe in evolution, or two, you believe in intelligent design, actually admitting that there's something greater than yourself. Evolution breaks three scientific laws. One is the fact that we know that life begets life. But evolution states that if you leave something non-living for a long period of time and in the right conditions, that it'll actually produce life. The second is that like begets like. And evolution basically proclaims the fact that there's these large gaps that take place in between species and different kinds of animals. But we never see the connection between these species and kinds. And pretty much they say something like a dog eventually will evolve into some walking being like a monkey, and that will evolve into us, which we know as a scientific law is not true. The third is the fact that scientific law says when you leave something, it actually breaks down. But evolution says if you leave something, it'll actually build up. With Darwinism, it doesn't even answer the fact that there's a starting point. Like, when you hear about Big Bang, that actually needs elements to have the Big Bang take place. But where did those elements come from? The starting place is never addressed. Also, one thing to take in consideration is a theory called irreducible complexity theory. That thing talks about basically in our living organisms, if something messes up, it affects the entire body. So the fact that if something isn't needed, normally it's eliminated, not actually continuing to be. So if there's a tail that was growing on me, or that was, and I didn't have it before and it's supposed to enhance me, it has to go through a long stage of development in order for it actually to be used functionally, the functionability of that to be used properly. So that thing, if it's not actually a help to me, it will be a hinder to me, it will be removed. There's all of these different things that are taking place. Also in the mind, we can't answer the complexities of our human brain. We don't know the functions of it, different personality types, where they come from. We can only observe the things in which happens in the brain, but we don't actually know where it's fueled from at all. And the very essence of life, how the body functions and runs, we can observe, but we don't know the spark of life. Also with the cosmic realm, the planet, if it actually was just tipped off of its axis just in a few degrees, it would completely be destroyed by the radiation of the sun and all of these things. So irreducible complexity theory has its legitimate claims. With intelligent design, more and more scientists are realizing that those things are possible. They normally equate it to life coming and inhabiting the earth or something and placing some life force here to start developing over time. That's something that's beyond us. No matter how words they want to put it, there's something greater than human beings. It also doesn't give any purpose in life. All we can look forward to is death and degradation. With the other elements, believing in God, you have hope of something after you die. No matter what you need to understand in this, is both are theories and require faith. You need faith on either issue. In order to disprove that there's a God, some people try to take the route that they look at other people's actions. Different religions with, let's say, Islam or Hinduism or different religions of the world, and they see that it's oppressive, or they claim that it's sexist. With Christianity, you can look back in the history and see all the massacres and killings that took place in the name of God. But you cannot use humans' actions, what people do, in order to disclaim that there's a God. Because humans are sinful. And if you start creating a God after fallen human characteristics, obviously that God will fail you. Because we always fail ourselves. We can't even do anything for ourselves. We always fail ourselves, and if you are actually truthful and to oneself, you know that you failed yourself multiple accounts. So if you want to find something to have faith in, it has to be something beyond you. When attributing the mistakes of people to God, they basically just reject Him inevitably. And in order to know God, or know there is a God, you have to give Him a try. Recently, Derek read a quote, and it was saying how a person who feels the need of a savior is a person who knows they need to be saved. Some say that God is actually a crutch, faith is a crutch, and that they find their security in the belief that there's such thing as a God to help them. But to tell you the truth, no matter who you are, we all are insecure. Whether you act as if you're confident and proud, you're insecure on the inside. If you're depressive walking around, you cannot look people in the face, you're insecure. People are obviously all insecure. So what gives you the security in life? It's knowing your individual purpose for why you're living. And the only person that can give you that knowledge of why you're living is the person that created you. And so you go to the individual, you go to the creator, the one that knew you before you were even born. Now the question is, how do we know what is right or wrong? Right? The question of morality. Where did morality come from? And why is it even there? What morality actually is just love. When you think about it, love isn't just a bubbly feeling that goes away like a fleeting feather. No, love is a principle. It's something that has been established throughout eternity. And this means there is objective truth. When people say that everything is subjective, that in itself is an objective truth that they're saying. So they're actually negating their own statement in making such an error. When you also say that, oh, but everybody's going on their subjective journeys coming to the truth. That truth is objective truth. The truth of right or wrong. Whatever is right, whatever is correct, whatever is incorrect. And all journeys, you can just basically establish these subjective journeys as growth in one individual's life, coming to the ultimate truth. And that's what we should all be doing. When you're thinking about this in terms of psychology, there's a superego, there's an ego, there's an id. And essentially, the ego is those realistic decisions. The id, that's the carnal nature, the things, the fleshy nature that you just want to go and do stuff that might not be great, right? And the superego is the one that analyzes and chooses in between these two things. Now, what you essentially have is freedom of choice here, and the realistic compartments of what you should do, the positive things, these are your conscience. And what a conscience is, that is essentially the still small voice of God that's communicating to you. It's just whether or not you accept that as a revelation of God or an epiphany, which is just something that has just come out of your own devising. So people can't even figure out about supernatural events that take place in life. Such things as like visions or healings or apparitions in life. These things even take place without drug use. The ultimate thing, even though you can't explain these, there has to be something, fourth dimension, whatever you want to call it, there's something beyond us, as we've been talking about. And essentially, the greatest thing that how we know there is a God is a transformed life. Transformation of character, overcoming addictions, just being able to forgive somebody. That's something that we don't have within ourselves, but God can give it. And all of these are reasons why we know there is a God.